This is the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Oklahoma State head coach Mike Boynton for a second consecutive Saturday. Oklahoma State with a late rally to win. In this case, down 12 to Texas with just under 6 minutes left to play, but Oklahoma State rallies for a 65-64 win. Thinking of this broadly now, you've done this back-to-back Saturdays at home. What do you think allows your team to do that? That's not easy. Down 8 to Iowa State with 3.5 to play, down 12 with under 6 to go. That's not easy. What's the key to being able to pull that off?
Well, first you got to believe in your ability. Our team believes in each other. They believe in the concepts that our staff has put in place, but they're really competitive. We probably do a segment in practice, probably 5 out of 6 days, where we play a 4-minute game, and we make the score different scenarios. Maybe we're down 6 with 4 minutes to go. Maybe we're up 8 with 4 minutes to go, maybe tied or whatever the case is. So we've got a lot of repetitions and being in those tight game situations that our guys have to make good decisions, and we try to put them in position to understand what we as a staff would like to have happen. But give all the credit to those guys for believing in each other, for competing the right way, and for finishing the game in a way that our fans could appreciate.
And as a result, those 2 games were close. The game at Kansas State was close, very competitive game. Same true against West Virginia. And across the board in the Big 12 this year, we're seeing a lot of that. But there's a lot of detail in scouting. Teams know each other very well. So I'm curious, what do you think you've learned about your team in conference play as you've got into this grind? Anything just jump out, maybe something new that you didn't know?
Well, that they're very adaptable. We've played 5 games. I'm not sure any of them have been similar, except for how competitive they are. You know, every team is so different, has so many different ways that you can approach them. They present so many different challenges. We faced the best shot blocker in the country yesterday. It's the first time we've seen that. We saw the most dynamic guard in terms of scoring just a couple weeks ago. We saw a team that's, kind of battling some injuries in Manhattan on Wednesday, and obviously West Virginia brings a different dynamic, and Iowa State playing a young team. So we've been very adaptable because they've been able to take the game plan each time and be able to execute it, even though we haven't won them all, but they've been able to adjust from game to game.
So how much do you think your interchangeable parts, guys that can play multiple positions, helps you in dealing with all the different styles?
Yeah, it definitely gives you an advantage because you don't have to settle for playing one way. It gives you the opportunity to play big like we've started to do with Mitchell and young Kuba playing a lot of minutes together as much as we can. But Mitchell fouls out yesterday, and we're playing a team that's playing a 7-footer and another guy that's 6'9", 240 pounds. And we've got our small forward, shooting guard, point guard, power forward, and Lundy Waters guarding him, and he takes the charge on their point guard as a result of being in the right position. So he's obviously a big key to that. The versatility within our roster is a huge asset at this point.
Stay with us. We look at highlights of the Cowboys week when we return on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. The Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Mike Boynton is brought to you by Bud Light, proud friend of Oklahoma State Athletics, famous among friends. By the visitstillwater.org Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health, your life is our life's work. And by OG&E, power at the speed of life. Welcome back to the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Oklahoma State head coach Mike Boynton. First up in this week was a trip to Manhattan, Kansas to take on the Kansas State Wildcats as we head off to the Bramlage Coliseum. Oklahoma State and K-State, a series with a lot of competitive games and a bit of a depleted K-State squad. And early on, boy, shot clock winding down, and Lundy Waters knocks this one in.
Yeah, he made a tough shot there, but unfortunately we took too many tough shots and didn't give ourselves a great chance to have success over the course of the night.
What were the issues? What were the problems K-State was presenting to you?
Well, they play a little bit more of a pack line defense, and they try to really do a good job of protecting the paint. Even though they don't have a whole lot of size, they forced us into taking some really rushed, ill-advised jump shots early in the game, which kept us out of rhythm.
K-State up 5 early on here, and here you see another one of the 3-point shots as Smith knocks that one down. But Brandon Averette, a career-high 22 points in this game. What did you like most about his performance?
Yeah, he was the one guy who played in attack mode all game. He got downhill, got into the lane and created some havoc, but he also attacked in transition and got some easy baskets, which we just didn't get enough of on that night.
Is it safe to say, and as we watch here at the end of the half, as you make a run to get back into it, as the pace picked up, it favored your team more? Is that a stretch or is that true?
No, that's completely true. We played way too slow for our liking. As a staff and as a team, we know in order for us to have the most success offensively, we've got to get easy baskets, so most of those come in transition.
See Mitchell Solomon hustling here, and later on an opportunity for Jeff Carroll as he gets to the rim and finishes, had 20 points. Is it safe to say we're seeing more of that from Jeff Carroll, and as a result, his productivity is going up?
Absolutely. He's been really locked in defensively and on the glass, and as a result of that, he's getting more opportunities to score because he's getting to the free throw line and being able to get out in transition when he rebounds.
And speaking of transition, another transition opportunity here as you finally battle back and get the lead. Lindy Waters finishes that off. You're up by 1. We should also point out you did not have one of your starters, Tavares Shine, for this game.
Yeah, we didn't, and that definitely hurt us. We weren't able to have as much flexibility when we didn't have scoring going. But, you know, it was nice to have him back this Saturday.
Do you think against Kansas State in particular, and let's first talk about Mitchell Solomon inside here as he walls his man off and gets to the rim, had 6 points and 10 rebounds. But going back to, as you were up 1 at the half, against Kansas State with the personnel they had, do you think not having Shine may have been more significant than it would have been in some other games, or no?
Yeah, I mean, just because from a competitive standpoint, he's really competitive defensively, and that's something we missed. We let Barry Brown get loose as a good player, but for him to get 38 was something that we just weren't dialed in enough defensively.
Lucas Gassam with the dunk there. Jeff Carroll finishes here, and it's a 1-point game. Cowboys rallying here with 7.5 to go, and Averette in the paint. And as you mentioned earlier, he was the guy that seemed to be able to get into their defense and get to the rim. But outside of that, as Carroll knocks us down to tie it, it seemed like he had a hard time getting past the foul line a lot.
Yeah, because they're there. They don't get out of the passing lane, so they're right in the paint most of the time when you try to drive. So you got to get baskets in transition, and in the half court, you still have to be tough enough to drive the basketball, knowing that you may have to kick it out or drop it off to a teammate.
And one thing that certainly hurt you, Kansas State had a couple of players. Jara making his first collegiate start at point, had a career high, and of course Barry Brown with a huge game, 38 points. Those guys both had career games.
Yeah, we didn't do the job there. Obviously was disappointed in the way we came out, the intention that to detail, the compassion that we had, or the lack of passion that we played with. So that resulted in a loss.
Stay with us. We look at highlights of the Cowboys' big win over Texas when we come back on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. We continue on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with head coach Mike Boynton. Next up, the Texas Longhorns for a Saturday afternoon game in Gallagher-Iba as we go to the highlights, and a really nice gesture by you and the team to wear the warm-up shirts in tribute to Andrew Jones, who's been diagnosed with leukemia, Texas guard.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. Really unfortunate that the kid and his family are going through that, and our heart and prayers go out to his family and to the Texas basketball program. Presented
the Texas team with a autographed and signed ball from the guys to give to Andrew as well. Mitchell Solomon early showing it with the left hand.
Yeah, Mitchell's continued to improve. He's a guy we got great faith in, his ability to score in the post, and as you see, he's playing with much more confidence in there.
This game was a grinder first half, wasn't it?
It was. Both teams were kind of filling each other out. They're playing obviously with some different circumstances. We had a different starting lineup, so just kind of getting a feel for things was pretty much the first 20 minutes.
You started Brandon Averette at point guard in this game. If you don't mind me asking, what triggered that decision?
Just trying to change things up to see if it will help our team. It's always what I'm going to do is evaluate what our team needs the most for us to have success, and he certainly gave us a really jolt of energy, was aggressive driving the ball downhill and making other guys better.
Scored 11 points, as a matter of fact. Texas had the lead for much of the first half, but Jeff Carroll with a big steal here. And I guess anything you can get in transition or off turnovers against Texas because they're so long, it's a huge bonus, isn't it?
Absolutely. Just like K-State, but in a different way. They really protect the rim with length. So when you have to play them in the half court, it's not to your advantage.
Late in the first half, Matt Coleman gets to the rim and finishes. Texas up 7 at half. What were your thoughts at halftime where you stood?
Yeah, it was disappointing. We had that breakdown at the end of the half, but I thought for the most part we played a really competitive half of basketball.
And Kuba first play of the second half with that nice dunk.
Yeah, we know they were pressuring and had an opportunity to get an easy basket at the rim by setting a screen on Bamba, and we were able to execute that pretty well to start the half.
And Sema with the steal and taking it coast to coast and ends up getting fouled. Back comes Texas, but back comes Tavares Shine on defense. And there you see an example of what you missed on Wednesday at K-State.
Absolutely. Just that competitive spirit. That was a competitive play. But back to Sema, everybody wears a defense on the back of their shorts, even our 7-foot big men.
And here Cam McGriff with the putback dunk.
Big play, big energy play for us. Something that Cam's kind of become known to do. Just bringing a great amount of energy and getting to the offensive glass to create easy shots.
Texas up 12. Jeff Carroll knocks down the tough shot. He led your team with 17 points. But looking at this game in general, and the thing is, it was kind of going back and forth. You'd try to make a little surge, they'd make a surge, and Coleman in the second half, when he didn't have the foul trouble, was more effective for Texas.
He's a really good player, and he's going to continue to get better under their development program. Kid I don't necessarily look forward to competing against too often, but I respect the way he plays, and I know our team will continue to get prepared to battle games like this.
Lindy Waters getting out in transition, finishes this play off. It's a 10-point game. Here's a big play in the game as Coleman is fouled by Mitchell Solomon, so he's out of the game, and after he makes this free throw, you're down by 12.
Yeah, down 12 with just under 6 minutes to go. We never really talked about the deficit, though. We just talked about being competitors, continuing to fight, and we knew that as long as there was time, there would be opportunity.
And Jeff Carroll getting to the rim here. It's a basket in one opportunity, a three-point play, and just 16 seconds later, it's down to 9, and here goes the run for your team to finish the game.
Yeah, and again, it started with defense. We got stops. We were able to get out in transition, and we attacked the rim. We didn't settle for a ton of threes.
That's what I was about to say, is that the thing is, sometimes when teams get behind, they start shooting jumpers and trying to force up threes. There really wasn't any of that.
No, there was no panic in our team. A tribute to our leadership and our composure, our belief in what we're doing, and as a result of that, we're able to make a pretty strong comeback here.
And that comeback occurred in about 2.5 minutes. A turnover leads to another transition opportunity, and Tavares Shine puts your team up by 1.
Big-time hustle play there by Brandon Averett, laying out for that ball and giving our team an opportunity to get out in transition to get an easy basket.
Ozetkowski puts Texas up by 1.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like an easy shot, but it was probably the only easy shot they got in like the last 6 minutes or so. So our defense was really, really solid, and this right here was the play of the game. It gave us an opportunity to win. Lindy Waters stepping in and taking the charge.
There's a reason why he leads the team in charges taken.
There's a reason why I don't like when he can't play.
Yeah, understood. Understood. Stands in, takes the contact from Coleman. That gives you a chance to win it in the final seconds.
Yeah, and that one wasn't even debatable. He's out of the lane. He's standing there, and, you know, he sacrificed his body.
So Carroll misses. Sema rebounds, and then Shine comes flying in, puts you up by 1.
Yep, great drive by Jeff. Caused some confusion. We're able to get to the glass, and Shine came up with the basket. But again, we continued to compete even on our last possession. They didn't get a great look, and wound up giving us an opportunity to win the game.
So I think we have another look at this. So as we go back and take a look at that game-ending play, notice where Sema is off in that left corner, how he comes flying in there.
Yep, so it was by design. We tried to move Mo Bamba away from the basket as far as we could. I wish I could have taken him out of bounds, but he got close enough to the rim to alter the shot. But even when he altered the shot, he couldn't also rebound it, which gave Sema the chance to get it.
Yeah, so basically he had kind of a two-tiered design there, it sounds like, to get Bamba, the nation's second-best shot blocker, away from the goal, and maybe, I guess, to give Sema kind of a running blast-off, if you will, to get an offensive rebound, which he did.
Yeah, we wanted to drive the basketball and try to get something at the rim, down 1, maybe get a foul and get to the free throw line. So we put the ball in the hands of our best driver, our most aggressive downhill guy. Jeff got the ball on the rim, which is his job. And then the other guys did what they're supposed to do. Both Shine and Sema went to the glass, and Lindy Waters and Brandon was back on defense in case they had a run out. So everybody did their job, and we were able to execute it.
And as a result, the Cowboys win by 165-64. We'll have more on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup after these messages. Welcome back to the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. The most recent player to join the game lineup for Oklahoma State is center Kuba. He had a career-high 7 points and 7 rebounds in the Cowboys' victory over Texas. A while back, Allison Gappa had a chance to visit with the Cowboys' new center about his journey to Stillwater.
Allison Gappa here with young Kuba. And Kuba, you have been out of game action for a year now. How excited are you to be back?
I'm really excited to just have a chance to be on the court again. You know, it's really hard seeing like the games from the bench and not being able to help the team, whatever. But I'm pretty excited, man. Can't wait to be on the court.
I looked up where you grew up in Spain, and it's like one of the only places that still have all that original, beautiful medieval architecture. There's a lot of Gothic cathedrals, and then your parents are also from Africa, and you have this really cool Africa necklace. Talk about the different places and how they've both kind of shaped you as the person that you are today.
I mean, Girona, Spain, that's where I was born and where I grew up, where I was raised. And it's a pretty like cool city to live on, and I really like loved living there. And then Africa too, I had a chance to go there for a year. The Gambia, that's where my parents are from. It's a pretty like poor country, but I learned a lot like from my experience going there, and like it was really cool to meet like my whole family.
How excited are you that you're going to be back for Big 12 play?
Oh, I'm really excited. Like I never thought like I'll be 1 year without playing a game, but at the same time, I'm not gonna put like too much pressure on myself. I'm gonna try to go out there and compete, have fun, and that's it. Like, and try to get the win.
Yeah, it makes you probably realize how much you do love the game of basketball, especially whenever you're just practicing, and you kind of don't get to reap that reward of going out and playing the games and having fun that way.
Sitting a year is pretty tough. Being able to like go out there and compete against other players that I know your teammates, and in front of all the fans, the great fans that we have in here, it's gonna be really fun, and I'm really excited. I can't wait.
Stay tuned. We'll wrap things up on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup after these messages. We are back to wrap things up on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup with head coach Mike Boynton. It's kind of a quirky schedule in that you'll face Oklahoma in Bedlam for a second time already, coming up here in mid-January on this forthcoming Saturday. So your thoughts on round 2 against the Sooners?
Well, we certainly hope it's better than the first round. They got the best of us. We played a really good offensive game, but we didn't compete enough defensively. So we've got to be better on the defensive end. But at the same time, we've got to continue to compete and be able to put up points because they're a high-power offensive team.
Because they are unusual in that way, and they're such a good offensive team, is there any benefit to it being a quick turnaround where it's pretty fresh in the guys' minds what happened just 2 weeks ago, or no?
Absolutely. They know how important that game is to our fans, to themselves, to us as coaches. And it's something I'm sure our team will respond the right way and come out and be a little bit more competitive this time.
As we keep working our way through conference play, what's maybe the one area where you feel really excited that the team will keep getting better in that area and it will really benefit you during the grind?
Well, I think we've continued to get better defensively, as crazy as it sounds. Yesterday was the lowest point total we've given up so far in league play. And at the same time, we're continuing to develop some competitive spirit, knowing that every game in this league is going to be a battle. I think there were 3 one-point games and 1 in overtime yesterday. And that's what it's going to be like for the next 6-7 weeks or so as this thing plays itself out.
For head coach Mike Boynton, I'm Dave Hunziker. Thanks for watching. See you next time on the Cowboy Basketball Roundup. The Cowboy Basketball Roundup with Mike Boynton is brought to you by Bud Light, proud friend of Oklahoma State Athletics, famous among friends. By the visitstillwater.org Shop, Dine, and Stay partners. Be sure to shop, dine, and stay in America's friendliest college town. By Mercy Health, your life is our life's work. And by OG&E, power at the speed of life.